Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. When I take a critical examination of the murder of rapper and business entrepreneur Nipsey Hussle, I see another textbook example of the beta males I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. Now, in The Man Crisis, I talk about this type of beta male in one chapter called Gangs in The Man Crisis. And you have to understand that gangs are gynocentric institutions, and gangs are formed where there are no male leaders or male authority figures like fathers to teach boys concepts like male authority. And the main reason I believe your Nipsey Hussle was murdered by your Eric Holder is because your Nipsey Hussle decided to assert male authority as a business owner. And because he decided to assert male authority as a business owner, as he was having an argument with this Eric Holder, that's what made this beta male extremely angry, because when it comes down to the beta male does not see a man as a leader or an authority figure. And if a man presents himself, especially a black man presents himself as a leader and an authority figure, his first instinct and first impulse is to challenge that man's leadership and authority. And oftentimes what happens is, because these men want to challenge that man's leadership and authority, what they want to do is try to find a way to destroy that authority figure, because no other black man is going to have power like him or have power over him. So that's why your Eric Holder, after having that argument with Nipsey Hussle, decided to go back to his home and go get his gun to murder this man, because he could not stand the fact that your Nipsey Hussle had more power than he had. Because as a prominent rapper, a black business owner, and a leader in the community, it was a clear and definite statement to Nipsey Hussle's power as a male authority figure. And having that male authority was something that upset your Eric Holder. And I believe it was the thing that led to him becoming jealous of your Nipsey Hussle, because when it comes down to beta males, they are often jealous of other males who have power and can possibly have power over them. And this is something that, again, relates to the concept of male authority, because the beta male has never been taught the concept of male authority, and to respect a man and to respect a man's authority over his property and to respect another man's personal space. The only way a boy learns male authority is if a female teaches him and it is reinforced by other men, because the mother, as the first teacher of culture, teaches the boy the respect for male authority by saying things like, you wait until your father comes home, or serving the father first, or waiting to have dinner when the father comes home. When the mother does that, she teaches the boy from an early age that the father is to be respected, the father is the leader of the home, the father is the head of the home, and the father is someone who needs to be respected in the same way God is to be respected, because as God's steward, he is the person who has been placed in charge over the family. Unfortunately, your Eric Holder and possibly your Nipsey Hussle never learned these concepts, and this is what led to this beta male going out here to murder your Nipsey Hussle, a man who was making efforts to try to improve the quality of life in his community by going out here and buying the very businesses in that mall that he owned and trying to make life better for everybody by building and maintaining black-owned businesses in the heart of your Los Angeles. So he was trying to do the right thing. Unfortunately, the people around him, like this beta male, they wanted to destroy this man because they were jealous of this man having this power and having and doing what he was supposed to do. They were jealous of this man, and they were looking for a way to destroy this man because they were used to the gynocentric institution of gangs and the gynocentric institution of the welfare state, which primarily funds most of the gangs. You have to understand that your gangs are primarily gynocentric institutions which are funded by the welfare state, because most of the thugs, most of the dope dealers, most of the gangs are primarily products of single mother households, and they are primarily products of those single mother households because the welfare state allows them to be there. Because in order for a woman to get welfare, the father must not be in the home, and that's how these guys roll. They're used to female authority figures and white male authority figures, but when a black man comes to them, what happens is they feel intimidated, they feel threatened, and they see this guy not as somebody they need to respect, but somebody they need to destroy. And that's why if you are a black man and you have any sort of success, you cannot stay in these areas because you're putting a target on your back. If you're a successful black man, what's going to happen is you are going to become marked for death, because when it comes down to your gang members, they want to preserve the gynocentric state, the gynocentric welfare system, because they receive benefits from that gynocentric welfare system. And a black man looking to start a business in that area and looking to serve his community, what happens is they see you as a threat to the power structure that they receive benefits from, and they want to get rid of you because you are going to do something that disrupts their entire life cycle and their whole ecosystem. And their whole ecosystem, again, is based on that welfare state and them getting their needs met by the women in that community. So your Nipsey Hussle, he said he was trying to do the right thing, but he just didn't understand why black men, when they get 2 nickels to rub together, they leave the community, because the community is not a place that would support healthy, strong, masculine black men. A inner city area is funded, again, by a welfare state, and they don't want black men there because they can't make money off of black men. And the gang members, they don't want to work with a black man because they don't want that black man to rise to power above them. And they don't want that black man to rise to power above them because they want the women to be in charge. And that's why we have this crab in a bucket mentality among black males in inner city neighborhoods, because when it comes down to black men, they want to get the attention and approval of the females of the gynocentric welfare state, and they will try to tear down any black man who tries to go out here and build in these areas, because they don't want that black man to rise to any sort of power or have any sort of authority over them, because they see black men as less than, and they elevate black women above them. So that's why they will go out of their, guys like Eric Holder will go out of their way to murder a man like a Nipsey Hussle, because they don't want to see that black man rise to any sort of power above them, because they see black men at the bottom, and that's all due to the dysfunctional programming they have received from these black single mothers in these communities. They don't want to see a black man be on the Nipsey Hussle level where they're trying to start businesses and trying to lead in their community.
because everybody wants to follow the gynocentric welfare state, and many of the black males, they get their needs met from those women in that welfare state. They would rather get the crumbs from the woman's table than go out here and have a table of their own as a man. And what's really sad about this whole situation is that Nipsey Hussle lost his life trying to do right by his people and do what was best for his people, but his people didn't want to do what was right for him. They wanted to remain stuck in the codependent cycle with this white supremacy, and they wanted to continue receiving those benefits from white supremacy. So that's why this crab in a bucket Negro wound up murdering this man over an argument instead of learning how to conflict resolve and think critically like a man would. Because if this boy had been raised by men, he would understand that if he had a disagreement with that man, he could just walk away and move on with his life and go find someplace else to go. But because he was raised primarily probably by women, this is why he got all emotional, went back here with that gun, murdered Nipsey Hussle, and then like a coward ran into this woman's car and was driven off, because usually, again, your gangs are gynocentric institutions, and they are pretty much financed and controlled by women. The men look like they're in power, but they're not in power. It's the women who control the economic base that keeps the gangs in power. And that's something most people don't want to talk about as it relates to these beta males. These beta males, they get most of their power from women and not from men. And with this whole Nipsey Hussle situation, we see how dangerous these beta males are. Because when it comes down to these beta males, they act on impulse. They are extremely violent, and the least little thing can set them off. And when they get set off, they can wind up murdering someone over the least little thing, because they have no respect for men, they have no respect for male authority, and they have absolutely nothing but contempt for any black man who looks to assert any sort of power in his community. And that's the main reason why so many brothers who are doing something for themselves, they have to leave the black community that they used to live in, because they can't help the people in those communities, because those people are so spellbound by the whole concept of fitting into the black box that's acceptable to white people, that they would rather be slaves on a welfare state instead of free in their own country. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe.